a function, but we're still going to learn how to graph it. Okay? But I don't want you to go into your college classes or Algebra 2 next year saying that's circles are functions. So that you can create them. All right.
I'm gonna forget after the test. Happens every time.
It's not, that part's not going to be important. Just a little fun fact for the day. All right, so here is the formula for a circle. Okay. So basically, H and K is the location of the center. All right, center. Okay. And so what the center is, what do we know the center is?
Middle of it all.
It's the middle of it all, right? That's how we actually create the circle, right? If we had a protractor, the center would be where we start, and then we draw the circle around that point. Okay, so that's what the center is. All right, H can also represent the circle or being translated right or left from the origin. Okay. And notice how it's with the X. You see how H is with the X? X usually represents going which way on the coordinate plane?
Horizontal.
It's the horizontal, right? So we're going left or right on that with the X, right? So it makes sense that the H would tell me whether I'm going right or left, because that's what the X is telling me, horizontal coordinates. Okay. Then the K, what do y'all think that would be?
Up and down.
Up and down, right? Because it's the Y. So this is representing up or down from the origin. And R is, y'all can probably guess what R is. The radius. Yes. Okay. All right, so we're going to graph something that looks like this. All right, now, this, right now we cannot graph this because it's not in the correct format. Okay, we need to have x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Okay, so look at back here. We have something x squared plus y something squared equals r squared. Is it in that format right now? No. So what do we have to do?
Oh.
Yeah, we got to add x squared to both sides. Now, can I combine the y and the x squared? No, right? Can't combine two variables that are the same. Which is good, right? Because then we have x squared plus y squared equals 25. Okay. Now, right now, do we have any h or k looking back at that formula? So what could we assume h and k are? 0. Okay. So our origin here, so when we're graphing, we need two things. We need to know what the origin is, and we need to know what the radius is. Okay, so the origin we already said is, or the center is called what? Or
H.
the center we have at the origin, which is just 0, 0. Okay, then the radius, we kind of have to do a little bit of calculating, not a whole lot. But what did we say the radius in the formula was? Or what did we say the r was over here?
Radius.
Radius squared.
So the radius is 5.
Yeah, how'd you get 5?
25 squared.
So we take what is right here on this side of the equal sign, and then we take the square root of it, and that's 5. So that's my radius.
So what are we trying to?
Yeah, so then now that we have those two things, we can graph our circle. Okay?
So the point is to graph something.
Yes, we need those two things to graph. Just like when you had a linear equation, right? You need the slope, and what else do we need? The y-intercept.
5.
Yeah, you need those two things to graph the linear equation, right? Now the circles, we need the center and the radius. Okay, so center is at 0, 0, so we're going to make a point at 0, 0. Then if we know the radius is 5, what should we do?
Go up a lot.
Yeah, we should like make another point 5 away from the center, right? In each direction.
And then you make a circle.
Yeah.
The square, actually.
Yeah, it looks like it's a square. So we gotta kind of like draw it kind of freehand. Y'all don't judge me.
Judge.
Okay, do your best.
Could you get like a little stencil? And...
Yeah, you could, or I could get my compass out, right, and measure it out here,
Found it, yeah.
and then go all the way around. I might even just use my
So
compass
it's a
today.
pointy.
Mine was, Johnny, mine was like
This shouldn't be a pointy, this should be a circle, okay? It's like a rounded side.
Looks like a deformed square.
It really does.
If y'all want to get a compass, you can. I'm gonna get.
There we go.
I
Now it just looks
Look at
like
that,
a
that's the form circle.
Form circle.
Square.
All right, I'll use the compass from here on out. All right, so here we need two things. So this is how we'll calculate the center here. So I'm gonna go ahead and rewrite the formula that was given to us on the last screen, just so we can compare these two. So the formula that was given to us was x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals, or r squared, sorry. Okay, so that was the formula we're going to compare. I'm going to give you guys this formula on the test.
No.
Yeah, I've been teaching here for how long, and so recently really should do that. Anyways, okay, so what is this negative sign telling me to do?
Subtract.
Yeah, it's telling me to subtract. It's also telling me to take the opposite of whatever's in that parentheses.
So
Okay.
positive 7.
So positive 7 would become what?
Negative.
Negative 7. So my center here
X minus 7.
is going to be, instead of positive 7, what?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. And then instead of, let's just say for the sake of this explanation, if this was a negative, what would it become? Positive. In this case, positive, so what's it going to be?
Negative.
Negative.
But,
So negative 8. So my center is negative 7, negative 8.
so that's where we start.
And then what's my radius, y'all? 8, right? We take the square root, we take what's over here, which is 64, take the square root of it, and that's 8. So my radius is 8. All right, again, we're going to start plotting our points. So negative 7,
There's X.
2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's going by 2.
2.
Okay.
I just
So,
put mine on the 8.
For halfway.
I'm going to do it. Negative 7 would be
Halfway.
2, 4, 6, 7. Be about right here. And then 8 would be 2, 4, 6, 8. Oh, I should have not put a point there.
Yeah.
My bad. Good thing I got this eraser over here. Okay, so we got our center. Okay, it's right there at negative 7, negative 8. And then our radius, we're just going to count this, in this case, 4. Why am I going by 2s again? Because that's how the graph is. That's how the graph is, right?
You could cut the point there.
It's telling me, okay, I have a 10 here, 10 here, 10 here, so I gotta go up by 2s. Okay, so I go with 2, 4, 6,
You could have cut the point right there.
8. Huh?
You could have cut the point up there.
Oh, I could have, because I went 8 down to get, yeah, look at that. 2, 4, 6, 8. And then 2, 4, 6, 8.
Why are these such boxed?
Oh, what am I doing? 2. Okay. Because circles are hard to draw.
Just not making
Unless
the
you,
graph.
unless you have a compass.
Feels wrong.
It does.
Oh. No.
That's terrible.
What happened? It's not good enough.
Aye.
I think it's because this is a bunch of rectangles on this graph, not actual squares.
That's why. Yeah.
So, okay, let's just try this again. I'm gonna freehand it, y'all.
Okay. Okay.
We're going freehand.
That is a perfect circle.
Mine is okay. See, it's like color.
Yeah, yours is great. Mine is horrible. Okay, anyways, you'll get the picture, right? Main thing you need to know is how to calculate these two, because on the test, you'll have to just recognize the graph,
We'll get the formula.
and they'll be given they'll give you these two, and I'll give you the formula on the formula sheet, so.
Just sitting there. We're not second.
Now we're gonna practice writing the equation, okay, so, let's say, it says if 1,4 is on the circle, whose center is the origin, so, we're not given a radius this time, so we actually have to calculate the radius, and then put it back into our formula. So let's write our formula out. What's our formula for circles?
Plus,
X
or X minus.
minus h squared
Plus
Plus-
X minus K.
Plus Y.
so radius squared, okay? All right, so then it's giving me a point, so where should I plug that point in?
So it's 1 minus negative 1. So
The X and Y, right? These are just an X and a Y. So I'm gonna plug in 1 here, and then my center, my origin is, or the center's of the origin, what would my point be for the origin?
yeah.
The origin.
H and K would be equal to 0, 0. Are y'all with me? Because the origin is 0, 0.
So
Y'all
when we
familiar with that
write the-
vocab word?
So when we write the equation, we would do is
So anytime the
1
word, hang on, anytime the word origin is mentioned in math, okay, it's talking about 0, 0. Sorry, what was your question, Brittany?
So in the equation, we would just put 1 squared plus 4 squared equals R squared.
Yes, exactly. But I'm gonna go ahead and write it out, that way we know what we're doing, right? We're plugging in 0 because it is the origin. But yes, if you made that connection right, it's just gonna become itself anytime we subtract 0 from anything, right? But that's what I did. I plugged in the X here, the 1 for X, the 4 for Y, and then I plugged in 0, 0 for the center because it's at the origin, okay? All right, then 1 minus 0 is 1, so we have 1 squared plus 4 minus 0, which is 4. 4 squared equals R squared. 1 squared is what?
1,
1, 4 squared is?
16.
So 17 equals R squared. So now it says we have to write an equation, all right? So I'm kind of out of room, but really there's only one more step left, and that is to plug my center in. Okay, so I'm gonna plug my center back in, so it'd be X minus 0 squared plus Y minus 0 squared equals R squared. Now, do I have to take the square root here?
Not there.
No, if it was asking for the radius, I would have to. But what am I putting in my formula? What R squared is. Okay, so that's why I didn't go one more step. Okay, it's because we're just gonna plug this 17 in for R squared. Okay, subtract the zeros, so we just get X squared plus Y squared equals 17 squared. 17. That's it. So we wrote that equation.
Whoa.
Any questions? Maddox, you got it? Okay. Y'all look back over the work and see if you can do it yourself.
How do you get from the 17 equals R squared to the next? Where's that one?
Where's this from? Oh, it's from here.
Translated.
So you
So
just-
I plugged the center back in, or the origin, yeah, center
Why?
back in,
Find the radius.
and, no, because when I put it back in the formula, I need to plug two things in. I need to plug in the center and the R squared.
Okay.
Okay. So like if you look back, right?
So you have to have measurings or not just 17?
Yeah, if you look back, right, what was given to us when a question was given to us, we were given the center values and the R squared. So we have to do the same thing when we're creating the formula. We have to plug. Yeah, so if we were working backwards, right, if we were then just saying, okay, we gotta graph this, then we would have to say, okay, the center 0, 0, and the radius would be the square root of 17 in order to graph it.
So how would
Now, I would normally not do this second step, right, where I get rid of the zeros, okay? Like, let's say I was given actual numbers here, I wouldn't do this last step, but because I can subtract 0,
simplify?
right, this is the simplest form I can get to. Any questions, y'all? All right, look back over the work and see, kind of rework it so you can do it on your own. If there's anything you're like, where should I get that from? Ask.
This is,
So where did the 1 and 4 come from?
they were the X and Y's.
The X and Y. Where did the zeros come from?
It's centered at the origin.
Its origin. Word origin means it's at 0, 0.
I thought we were supposed to.
Then we just, do you understand this part, Matt?
Yeah, I know how to do that. I just don't know how to set up everything.
So yeah, all I did was I got this from the Screw on Your Formula sheet. So this is just the circle formula. Okay. And so do you see where I got the 1 and the 4 from? The
Yeah,
0 and
see
the
where you
0?
got the 1 and 4.
And you got all this part?
Right.
Okay, why don't we stop here and not take the square root?
Because 17 is not squared.
Yeah, well, look at the formula, right? Is it r or r squared?
R squared.
R squared. So we're trying to get something, because that's what I'm missing. I'm missing this r squared. Otherwise, if I had r squared, I could just put it back in the formula and be done, you know? So I need that r squared in order to create the formula. So then, now that I have r squared, I can create an equation, okay? By plugging in the center and then plugging in the r squared. And then we're done. We'll do another one. All right, so we're given that the radius is 30 squared, or square root of 30, and it's centered at 0, 0 again.
So it's X minus zeros.
So we'll just do this, we'll plug in what we can. Right, what should I plug in for H? 0, what should I plug in for K?
0.
And then this is gonna be R squared,
Equal to 30 squared.
so I'm gonna put the square root of 30 squared. Okay,
Wait,
I'm just plugging it into the formula.
okay.
Everybody see what I did? Okay. So I just took this and I plugged everything in that was given to me. Okay, Matt, can I simplify stuff? Yeah, what can I do with these zeros? Get rid of them, right?
So it's
And then what's the square root of 30 squared?
30.
30. And we're done.
So they cancel out.
I thought we were supposed to have it as 30 squared and then do the square root. Because it was already square rooted in the first place. So
Yes.
I thought we were supposed to plug it back in and square root to get the radius of the square root of 30.
Well, this time we're given the radius. We're not trying to find the radius, that's why. So if we're given, if we're given r squared, then we take the square root. But if we're given the radius, we just square it.
So then it would be x squared plus y squared.
And that's my answer. Yes. Yes.
So then
Oops, sorry.
how do we graph that? So
How we graph it? So graphing it would be different, right? Then honestly, I could graph it just knowing this stuff. I wouldn't need,
or you wouldn't even need the
I wouldn't even need it to
that
do
x
this.
and y.
Yeah.
It would just be up 30.
Mhm.
We don't have those two problems.
You don't have these? Oh, it's on this side. Like,
There.
yeah, it's kind of written next to it.
We do have.
All right, so we got this equation up here. These are all different types of problems. So it says translated left 4 up and up 2. Okay, so the way we want to kind of think about this is what are we going to do to my x value? Are we going left? We're going to subtract how much?
4
4, and then what are we going to do with our y?
plus
Add 2. So this is kind of what we're doing to our center. Okay, so what should I do with that 16?
subtract 4.
Subtract 4.
So
So 16 minus 4, and then what should I do with the negative 6?
add 3.
Add 2. All right, and then what do we get?
X minus 20 squared plus y minus 4 squared.
That's it.
That's the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, did you say?
Because we're just writing the equation. Now, if it asks like graph a circle, right, then we'd have to find the center and the radius. Graph it, but we're not graphing, we're just writing the formula for it, or the equation for it. All right, last one we're given the center and a point on a circle, so what do we need to create an equation? We need the radius. Okay, so we're doing the same thing that we did for the first problem over here. Okay, this time we're given numbers for the center other than 0. Okay, so we're still gonna use our formula. All right, so again, we need r squared, okay? So what should I plug in for x?
-7.
Yeah, that's the thing, we gotta get these straight. Where do we plug, what do we plug in
Isn't the
where?
center supposed to be your h?
Yeah, so since it says center, we know this is gonna be h, this is gonna be k. And we know since the point of the circle will just be x and y. Okay. So we're gonna plug in -7 for x, h for, or 2 for h, and so forth and so on. So we're just plugging these in. So tell me what to write, Parker.
Okay.
X, what's my x? What do I label x?
7.
-7? All right, what am I plugging for h?
2.
Keep going.
-1.
Is that okay?
-5.
All right, we have 2 negatives here, y'all happen.
Add.
We gotta add. All right, and again, we're trying to find r squared so we can plug that r squared back into my formula. Okay, so we're gonna keep going. This is 9, so 9 squared. Why did I get rid of the negative?
Because it doesn't matter, you can plug
It
in.
really doesn't matter. I'm gonna leave the negative just because, but we could just get rid of it if we wanted to. So we'll do 4 squared equals r squared. 9, -9 squared is 81. 4 squared is 16. What's 81 plus 16?
97.
97. So do I have to keep going at that point?
No.
Okay. Now I'm gonna take that 97, I'm gonna plug it back in for r squared, and what else do I need to also plug back in? To get, to write the equation. I need the r squared in the
So,
center, okay? So to write the equation, I'll just do, okay, x minus 2, right? Why am I having a -2 here?
because it's a positive 2 in this.
And then I'll plug in what for my y? Or my k, sorry.
Positive 5.
Positive 5,
Y
right?
plus 5.
And then equals 97, and I'm done.
Why did they choose x to be the variable?
X and Y are like,
Because,
it's the least
It's
letter used in the
important.
alphabet.
oh, just in general, or in general, I have no idea.
It's because it's the least
I feel like it'd be-
used letter in the alphabet.
Is that one?
I'd actually think
It's
it's
just, y'all should
actually.
look it up.
I don't know if it's-
Alright, so we're gonna do a partner activity. I'm gonna tell y'all who you're with. Or Team Shake is gonna tell you who you're with.
What is
The
it?
what?
What's
What?
it?
Just for the next thing we're doing.
It's like, there's a bunch of words like box and box. It's not made to start with x.
I was just hungry.
Alright, so we're gonna do Lily, Kate, Maddox, and Ansley. Johnny and Luke, Avery and Braden, Annabelle and Hannah, Elijah and MJ, and Parker and Riley.
What's this for?
It's for this partner activity we're gonna do.
Merits.
Alright, y'all write all your names on the top of this paper and work together. I actually don't know. Now we need one to start again. Yeah, you only need one paper. Y'all all working on one paper. They're right
Whoa.
Alright, did everyone get one?
What's the date and score? Is it 29?
It's 29th, yes.
That's cool.
Is this for grade?
Sure.
No.
No,
But I might be wrong.
Now we're doing that.
That's a lot of papers.
And it looks pretty.
It's Oh, okay. So the center goes.
So cold.
Is it too cold in here?
No. Not. Elijah, you're cold blooded, right?
Wait, he said it's not cold.
Like cold.
All right, before y'all move on to the next page, have me check the first page.
So the center.
Before you move on to the second page, have me check the first one, that way you're doing all these right.
Oh, it's not that hard. It's multiple choice. It's not like it's like all.
Ms. Garner, how did you get it in the other?
It looks worse than it actually is.
That's true, Maddox.
Hang on, y'all reference this one right here.
For what?
For these problems.
So are we supposed to, so like, Ms. Garner?
This is not okay to do two kidding for food.
Reference this.
Are we
My
supposed
brain
to-
has like.
Are we supposed to, so
I
like,
don't know what the word is.
so like, remember, two right here, says the radius.
Hey, the Baylor did it like 10 o'clock, and I remember one.
So see what I did to find the radius this time.
Arkansas? You do the
Great one.
Wait, well, I'll show you. Actually, make sure.
The only way I win
Is it?
is if Gonzaga loses
This round.
this round or Providence.
If they do not, if they get to the national championship, you don't.
But now we have this.
Yeah, I know.
It says it's gonna be this.
Try to say.
Bro, projected standings.
All right, let's not talk about March Madness right now, Riley Lane.
So they're both positive.
Let's talk about March Madness right now.
If they're positive.
It's
Hey,
a
I
weekend,
went up in
Ms.
my
Gardner.
rank- I went up in my rankings.
Because originally.
I went up in my rankings.
So like originally.
I went down, I was number 6 and then Alabama lost,
Okay, I know
so.
what you mean.
No,
I
bro, I
had
was
Baylor
number
and,
6.
If it's positive, then it's gonna count against it. So it's negative.
Gonzaga?
See, I'm like to this point and I already don't know what to do.
What is it? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't know how to do
Just call me Zach.
See, like, why?
I don't understand what I'm doing. I'm just gonna.
No, I'm like doing the whole video.
Oh, these are like positive, so.
Dude, I can't believe Oregon State.
Negative.
Whoa.
This.
I should have switched.
See how we did, see how,
I'm just skipping.
positive 7 became negative 7,
Skip it.
positive became negative 9.
Yeah.
Right.
No, it's not bad at all.
Look, you really just look at it. And you make it, then positive, negative, then you just. You got this.
Okay, identify the center and then graph it. Oh, okay. You need to check our copy.
I don't know what I'm
Wait,
doing.
these are the last four. 5, D, A,
You have to get 1.7.
Yeah, if it doesn't.
Just check those.
Miss Garner, I'm confused. I don't know what I'm doing.
Miss Garner.
We're done. Y'all finish the whole thing?
Wow, that was impressive.
Y'all can start with your homework.
Y'all look really cool, guys.
And y'all can, turn in your packet.
You meant to circle that.
Are these?
Oh, it's the same thing.
But I'm just pulling all straight guesses. That's not right. That's right.
0.
It was, look at example problem, right? What did I do with that positive?
Oh, I guess we just.
I got you.
These are all, see how, you have the. Positive is negatives, and then all the positive like one. Signs that are inside the pencil. And then what happened that three?
Now it's just good.
It's the radius, the square root of it is the radius. So I just put square root of
So there's no
it. So that's like.
Wait, so are these right or? Is this gonna be four today?
What's the square root of 10? It's gonna be 4. Yeah.
We're gonna go down.
So that's what you have to do, right? Square root of 27 is 3 square root of 3. You'll just offset those. That was right. So that's what you're doing.
They're A, B, C, they're options.
You
You do the opposite sign of what it used to.
A, B,
That one's.
You were right.
Yeah.
You were right.
Yeah, I told you right.
I want to hear it.
Okay, do you need to check the other
Oh,
one?
there's a line.
Oh, wait, it's fine.
I don't have to keep checking it. Once I check that first page, I'll just finish.
Who finished the entire thing?
We did.
Who's we?
On this
Me
one,
and
the
Mary.
square root of 10
Y'all
is 1.
finish, y'all finish all
Yeah,
of
and they
these?
just put it, just leave it like that, yeah.
It's not a big
First page.
deal.
It's not all the way right. I just figured taking that and then try to text it, text it.
Oh, it's because they were.
Okay, Ms. Garner. Elijah, do you want to check this?
Garner.
Do you want to check that?
Baby, let me pull you.
So you check for me. A, B, A.
Guys, oh.
Here you go, Ms. Garner.
Are y'all done?
How are y'all all doing this so fast?
It will hit you real soon. Elijah, just screen to you while it's on. Alright, so if you are done, go ahead and knock your homework out.
How does the very beginning of that song go?
I don't know what to do.
I finished it.
Miss Garner?
John, how does the beginning of that sound?
Correct?
Oh, it's so secret.
I'm pretty sure it's due Wednesday.
Who? What? The day of the
So I have to do that for each one of these?
These are
Yeah, that makes a lot.
That song's right now.
I don't think
That makes a lot. I thought it was each, like, number one. It's actually like, during the whole song.
Sure, we are so
Yeah.
smart.
Right,
So good. What?
One more.
Oh. Going away, I'm thinking that you're so.
Around there.
I'm worried for
I'm Aaron.
Yes. And then now, I'm shouting down the
Good.
Johnny,
It's like hard.
as soon as I went back,
I think that
the first game went,
all it is you
And
let
as soon as I look back at you, like,
one motion.
he was like,
And then right hand, you have, for the majority of the song, your right hand's doing one tap.
I can throw that.
Oh my gosh, guys.
Wait, oh, I got one more pass. I don't want. Hardcore is speed. So it's like, I'm telling you, man. Exact same.
Oh, like, the no joke, I have a homework task, I'm using it tonight.
Yeah, 'cause it's like, that doesn't really help
I know, I feel like we're weird, like.
ooh, are you a left or right kind of guy?
Alright.
Both right?
Y'all gotta give me.
Oh, it's so weird. It's weird.
When that excuse.
Like, I don't, I think center is negative. Center is.
Where to?
You did like a 5-minute thing.
Yeah.
That's like all. I literally walked this one time. Oh, that's like all I do.
Well, then it'll.
My mom
Did you see how they were choosing who was gonna play yesterday?
Guys, I highly suggest y'all come first. I highly suggest y'all come to our soccer game. We're playing a boarding school.
Actually, it was.
Chase you from them?
Ask them.
Is it gonna be 20 seconds?
You excited to play doubles?
What did you say?
Yes.
Josh, here's
Oh, those gonna be embarrassing when I show up and play one doubles.
I was just say y'all, Dennis, don't finish your homework like that. Got her computer out, so Dennis.
Do I do it? All the
Raise your
numbers?
hand.
What do we have?
Or negative numbers.
Like, go to
No, it's.
We got 15 seconds. What they say will be great. Let's go explore the whole world.
They're probably all round. And they're like a little short.
That's what's okay.
That's what I told him. I made that too.
Yeah, thank you.
No, quit. Are you on varsity?
Hey, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah, you told me last
Yeah. That's where you're at. And you know I'm right.
Equal to whatever R squared is. Right? Now check over it. You're missing one thing. What are you missing?
I don't know.
Alright, look between the squared and the. There you go. Yay, look at you, knocking it out. Thank you, Hannah, for working so hard. I feel like I need to reward you.
No, I just want to get it done.
Love that. You're gonna go far with that kind of personality trait.